Donald Trump is facing 4 felony charges related to efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Key political figures are now weighing in on the indictment, which comes as the former president campaigns, of course, to get back the top political job in the land. So
political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is joining us now with a little bit more on reaction to the indictment. She's in Washington, of course. So there's been a range of reactions, I think, coming from the 2024 candidates. By former Vice President Pence, perhaps the most critical. How have the candidates responded?
Hey, well, good to see you both. Well, now that this is the third indictment, we have a familiar playbook with not only how Trump reacts to these indictments, but how the Republican Party, especially his Republican rivals for the nomination, react too. And we're seeing kind of the similar fault lines develop. You have a couple of candidates who haven't gained much traction, but who have built their campaigns around pretty much being critical of Donald Trump, weigh in, issuing those criticisms. Then you have others like Ron DeSantis, Tim Scott, others who would be competitive for the nomination, coming to his defense, essentially echoing his rhetoric that this is a political investigation by the Justice Department. But Mike Pence's comments were very notable because Mike Pence is a central figure in this indictment. And what is interesting about what he said was anyone, in his words, he said anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should not be president of the United States. These are some pretty tough words from Pence, who has said in several interviews recently that he doesn't think what Donald Trump did that day rose to the level of criminality. And at points, he's even echoed Donald Trump kind of blaming this on his lawyers, and has said that, someone taking advice from crank lawyers, in Pence's terms, doesn't mean criminality, especially. We'll wait to hear more from Mike Pence, who will be in Indiana today. But I think that kind of shows a new dynamic in this race, where you have the former vice president as a key figure in this indictment, also a political rival now for the president. But notably, Mike Pence has not gained any traction in this Republican primary. He's low in the polls, and actually, it's not yet clear that he will make the debate stage later this month. And I can say, talking to voters, especially in Iowa, and I know, Ed, you've done a lot of reporting there too, voters will bring up organically on their own that they were very upset with how Mike Pence handled himself that day by following the law, of course. But that's also something to kind of look at here, is those critical of Trump have not been gaining traction.
It's amazing. He has some of the worst net favorability ratings among Democratic and Republican political figures in the country,
vice president,
because he's managed to tick off so many base Republican voters. And, of course, Democrats are inclined not to like him.
Right.
But then you see this statement he puts out last night, which is slightly more critical than the comments he's made before. And it's like, well, what are you trying to be, Mike Pence?
Right.
And so we're going to have to wait and see. And there's still a chance he could get hauled into court as a witness in all of this as well.
A significant one.
Which just adds to the incredible dynamics of this whole affair. Many members of Congress, Caitlin, were in the Capitol, of course, on January 6th, 2021, when the attack there was carried out. Can you summarize, especially on the Republican side, the kind of response we're seeing from those lawmakers?
Yeah, and that's a really important point, because when you look at all of these other indictments and potential indictments to come, this is kind of most specific to members of Congress because they were there. We saw the reaction on that day is very different from the reaction that we have seen over the past 2.5 years. Republicans have derided the January 6th investigations on Capitol Hill as political. Only 2 Republicans served on that committee. And what we saw yesterday was more Republicans on Capitol Hill coming to the former president's defense here, both in the House Speaker Kevin McCarthy saying that, echoing the president's rhetoric that this is political, and even on the Senate side, interestingly, from people like Senator Daines, who is heading up the Republicans' effort, the NRSC, the effort to recruit and keep or gain back the majority in the Senate. They have been supportive of Donald Trump. And I think this kind of speaks to the dynamic that we're seeing in the Republican primary right now, where you see the base of support for Donald Trump has been kind of aided by Republicans in Congress who haven't challenged him on this and on the false claims, really, about the election. And so I think that's kind of what's, undergirding all of this momentum for Donald Trump, is that he has a lot of allies on Capitol Hill.
So another one of the many things that we've heard from the former President Donald Trump about this investigation is that this is another attempt to now hijack the next election, which puts President Biden in a position where it's difficult to make a comment. Have we heard anything from President Biden? What's the strategy here for him?
Yeah, and the strategy is not to comment at all. The White House refers all of this to the DOJ, which they say is an independent body. They make that in their statement. What is interesting here is that, Biden is trying to avoid any sort of implication that this is political, right? So by not weighing in, that feeds into, we're staying away from this. He is on vacation in Delaware at the beach. He went to see Oppenheimer last night. He went on a date with his wife. Very much trying to stay out of the fray here. But it's notable, that poll that you mentioned, the New York Times Siena poll, which, again, we're so far out from a general election. We're so far out from an actual Republican voters weighing in caucuses and primaries. But you are seeing kind of this potentially competitive race between Donald Trump and President Biden. And so that's also kind of fueling the Trump rhetoric on this as well. But notably trying to stay out of the fray. I should also note someone that we're waiting to hear from, too, is Mitch McConnell, because he has been, unlike Kevin McCarthy, has had a little bit of a different take on this, and he has not yet weighed in, and he will be someone to watch in terms of what he's thinking about this specific indictment.
Mm-hmm. You know who else went to go to the movies last night? Must be all the politically folks.
I don't know. Oppenheimer was a good movie, but it's quite telling that the president opted to go do that. And didn't they take a walk on the beach afterward as well, Caitlin?
Yep, they went on a walk on the Moonlight Walk, apparently.
In Rehoboth Beach. How romantic.
But no Barbie movie.
No Barbie, apparently. Maybe they're going tonight for that. Who knows?
Yeah. Caitlin, thank you.
Caitlin, take care.